Setting up a commercial plantain field doesn't just start that very day. It begins weeks or even months before the proper setup. This is Ijebu in Ogun State, and we are going to be setting up 10 acres of commercial plantain field. So how were we able to execute it? Every field operation is split into 3 phases, which are the pre-planting operation, the planting operation, and then the post-planting operation. When it comes to the pre-planting operation, this simply involves the clearing of the field. As you can see here, it simply involves cutting down of shrubs and trees to ensure that the field is easily accessible. So after the cutting down of the trees, the next thing is to allow these trees dry off, and then you begin to burn, and that is obviously what we are doing here. So this is just to ensure easy access to the field and to ensure that the field is free from weed. Part of what we are going to be having on this field will be the installation of irrigation system for the whole of these 10 acres. So before the installation of the irrigation system, we are going to be installing the borehole as well as the GP tanks that will serve as the distribution point throughout the field. Every side so that field setups are usually labor intensive, and in this case we needed a whole lot of labor. As you can see, it's literally a whole community. I tell you, it was an amazing time anyways, because working with all these people is always so amazing. So guys, let's dive into the project proper. Every project always starts with a thorough field survey. When we talk about field survey, this simply involves going around the field to understand what the field layout is like. So after the understanding of the field layout, before the mapping out operation begins, and that is what we do for every of our project, we need to thoroughly evaluate the field layout, and from there we then start with the mapping out planning, and that is what we did exactly at this project location. After the evaluation of the field layout, the next operation that we start with is the marking out of the field. So this field mark out is the aspect of the field setup that then determines the plant spacing, how the plants will be laid out on the field, because that is obviously what we are doing. And for a commercial plantain field setup, we usually use a plant spacing of 2 meters by 2 meters. This would ensure that we have the right plant population and these plants are properly and well outlined. So that is the whole essence of why we do this, to ensure that it is done precisely. Precision is one of the goals we look to achieving when we set up commercial field. So that is what we are doing right here. Immediately after the mark out, the points of those mark out are pegged. Okay, so after the pegging of those points, then twines are going to be introduced on each of those pegs. So as you can see here, those twines are introduced, and the twines are then used to properly outline the field. This is to ensure that we are having a very well defined field, so we don't just have the holes being dug at random points. No, they are dug at a well defined point. This is to ensure that at the end of the day that the proper spacing and plant population is gotten. For a commercial field setup, this mapping and digging aspect is usually the most tedious of all of the operations, especially if we are working on a field that was manually cleared. If it was mechanically cleared, you had your bulldozer come in, pull out the trees, it becomes way easier. But when it is manually cleared, you still have a bit of shrubs, you have storms here and there like you have here, but then it still doesn't stop the work, but then it has a way of slowing down the pace of the work, but it doesn't disturb the outcome of the field setup at the end of the day, because eventually these shrubs would decay and will add to the nutrient level of the soil. So immediately we are done with the mapping out, the next is to begin to dig, and this is where we begin the digging point. We don't just dig randomly. The digging point are usually the intersection point between the vertical twines and the horizontal twines. So from one point, intersection point, to another must be 2 meters. Okay, it has to be 2 meters and it has to be properly outlined. So that is that with field mapping out and digging operation during a commercial field setup. For this particular field location, application of herbicide becomes extremely critical. For this field location, we cannot afford to go ahead with planting if we do not apply herbicide to this field. Reason being, because of the weed state on this particular field too, and that is why we are applying a systemic contact herbicide to this field. So we're not just applying any kind of herbicide, we are applying a systemic contact herbicide to this field in order to tackle all of the weed on this field. So we just basically need to apply herbicide. We do not need any form of manual clearing, because the herbicide will take care of all of the weed and ensure that they decay properly. Okay, so and that is why we are making use of herbicide. Like I said, the current weed situation isn't going to affect the result we get at the end of the day. The only time this weed would affect the result, or especially compete vigorously with the suckers, is if we fail to apply herbicide at this stage. So the herbicide has to be applied before the introduction of the suckers. It is a contact systemic herbicide, so make sure it doesn't come in contact with your suckers. Let it only come in contact with the weeds, and that is what we are doing at this point in time. So after this application, we are then going to be moving on to the next phase, which will now be the treatment of our suckers and eventual planting of the suckers. Stay glued, guys. So guys, just before we go into treating the suckers and planting our suckers, I want to show you a little bit of behind the scene. What we do behind the scene, especially during break times. Okay, this time is usually the most fun time where the guys display their eating skills. Just take a look.
Ẹ má kàn dìde kẹ́ palẹ̀ mọ́. Ẹ má ẹ wo fa gbogbo kọ́lẹ̀ lójú. Ẹ má kà fà. Wá. Hello ni. Ní mo bá ń gbé tó ń jẹ wọ́n bí ẹ. Àwọn bàbá yẹn kẹ̀ dúró ní máa ń Ibo. Ẹ gbọ́. Wà bẹ́ẹ̀. Bọ́ọ̀lù. Ọbẹ̀ làwọ̀. Sound.
Chi. Ọmọ oró.
Ẹ méjì ọpẹ post.
Ọmọ ọpẹ.
Ọmọ post ẹ̀. Ẹ méjì ọpẹ post ẹ̀.
Ọmọ oró rè.
Nílò ìdí bá ti blow tí mo dẹ̀ fowó ṣeré. Wọ́n máa lọ ní pé mo ti rówó.
Wọ́n máa mọ̀ pé.
Wọ́n máa lọ ní pé mo ṣògo owó.
O ṣe ọpẹ pumping.
Àlélé.
O ṣe. Upcoming lele o. Upcoming musician re. Biggie. Zino re. Biggie Banty. O ṣe. Jẹ́ kó mọ̀.
Ẹ tó wá bá fídíò wá yẹn.
Ẹ wá gan ẹ̀. Ẹ wá gan inú o.
Ṣó ṣó nu kámẹ́rà.
O ṣó. Ó yọ.
Ìgbọ̀n yẹn clear ò bá mú.
Emeka, ọjọ́ wo ni wàá change wa? Ó tún fẹ́ jẹ oúnjẹ èèyàn. Gbé tiẹ̀ wá kí wọ́n jẹ. So today we are going to be commencing with the treatment of the suckers and also planting of the suckers, and that was why we needed to increase the population to what you are seeing right now. Because of the scale we are going to be operating on, we needed as many hands as possible in order to achieve this operation like really quick. We just wanted to achieve this within a day, but then because of the scale and what we needed to do, it took us 2 days to achieve this particular operation. So that is what we are doing right about now. These are the guys heading to the field, and it is going to be a very activity filled day. So let's move in as we dive into what we are going to be having today on the field. So we have gotten to the phase where we get to treat our suckers, and here I am demonstrating to the women and showing them how to go about with the mixing of the chemicals in the solution, the right ratio to use for the quantity of water we are gonna be using. So I am here obviously demonstrating to them and showing them how to go about with the mixture, okay? And we always ensure that this mixture is done using the right dosage. We do not use outside the recommended dosage, okay? And this is what we are doing here right about now. The purpose of treating these suckers cannot be overemphasized. The essence of treating these suckers is because this is a commercial field. You want to prepare these suckers and treat them against any insect infestation or any fungi infestation that could be present even in the soil or at that field location that you are about to cultivate your suckers. You want your suckers to start start life in the best possible way, in a very healthy state, and you do not want any form of insect infestation or disturbance as they emerge. And that is the whole essence why, especially if you are cultivating your suckers or your plantains on a commercial scale, you must ensure that you treat them against fungi and insect infestations. So the women were responsible for the distribution of the suckers from the point of treatment down to the field, while the guys were responsible for the planting of the suckers, because we needed more hands. And that was why we got in more women who were basically responsible for moving the suckers into the holes, while the guys were responsible for the planting of the suckers. So here are some of the women who were tasked with the responsibility of putting all of the suckers into the already dug holes, and here they are evenly distributing them. So we actually split them into groups, so each group has the area they are attending to, and each know what they are meant to be doing at every point in time, with of course thorough supervision to ensure that they are actually doing the right things. And guess what? Even in the midst of what we were doing came the blessings we have been waiting for. But then we weren't really expecting this blessing like to come meet us on the field. But anyway, guys, we kept on working, because whether it rains, it doesn't rain, the job has to be done. So, and we kept on working and ensured that we achieved what we came in here for, and we didn't get deterred by the rain. Under the rain or in the sun, we keep working and keep achieving the target. Of course, it's what every farmer prays for, is that after planting there should be rain, and obviously this rain made a day. But then maybe we would have expected it to fall after we were done at the field. But then any which ways, it was a blessing, and we are happy for the rain. So for a division of labor, the women were responsible for the putting of the suckers into the holes, while the guys were responsible for covering or properly planting the suckers in the holes. And that's what we did, and that was how we achieved this very project. And here is the final stages of the project, which is the planting of the suckers. And we are good, guys. So guys, how you doing? So we finally rounded off with this project. It was really a massive one, and we are glad we were able to, get it all done. And yeah, super cool. We worked with a whole lot of locals from the farm location. It was really an experience also, because obviously it was really demanding. They're working with people who doesn't even understand what you want to do. But at the end of the day, we were able to finish up, and we achieved our goal, which is always the most important. So guys, I needed to punch on that subscribe button right about now if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, and do well to turn your post notifications so that you get notified when subsequent videos drop. At this point in time, guys, we are gonna be drying the cotton. But before we go, guys, if you have any project you want to set up commercially, all you need to do is go to the description, punch on the description button, contact details is there. All you need to do is send us an email or do a WhatsApp message. Do not call, do a message, and there would always be definitely someone at the other end to respond to you. So guys, see you in our next video. Do well to do agriculture right. Stay glued and do well. Check out other videos, guys. Peace.